Hello and welcome, I am Arumba, thank you for joining me. Let's start a brand new campaign with FilthyRobot called the Filthy Tutor. How's it going, Filthy?
I'm doing well, man. I'm looking forward to this.
Alright, so you finally conned me into it, right? We did a whole bunch of Civ 6, and you're saying that Civ 5 is still a fantastic game, and I should go back and play it, and
Really, you had me hooked on this idea when you told me that you have not yet beaten Deity AI. I'm like, oh my god, you as like a strategy gamer with a huge strategy gaming channel, we got to at least give you that win, and I think we can do that first shot. I think we can just walk our way through that. So.
What usually dissuades me from actually even trying, it's not, I bet if I tried enough I could do it on my own, but I just don't like playing against AI that cheats, and it's always dissuaded me. I'll get like I was telling you last night, I was doing a little trial run, right? Because we were talking about what to play as and stuff, and I just wanted to poke around in the interface a little bit so that I wasn't completely blind here. But, you know, I've got like a city at 3 pop, and I noticed that the AI next to me has 4 cities. It's just like...
So, do you know how it starts?
I don't, no. So for the viewers...
They're going to start out, sure. They're going to start out with, I believe it's 2 warriors, a scout, and 2 settlers, and a worker, something like that.
Jesus.
To start with. And you're going to start off with a settler and a warrior. That's what you're starting with. That's Deity, right? Like, they just get the extra settler on you. They also have bonuses to growth, bonuses to production, building like wonder timing, gold bonuses. Their units start with promotions while yours don't.
What?
Oh yeah.
No.
You're gonna. Yeah.
That's nonsense.
This is just straight up cheating. You're gonna be fighting that today.
Okay.
Please put on random personalities for that. It makes the game harder.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's what we need. Let's make it harder, sure.
This allows us, it doesn't allow us to predict the actions an AI is going to take based on the civ that it spawns with, which is nice for us.
Okay.
And other than that, I'm okay with everything here. So.
Okay, all right, let's dive in. Now, you won't be able to hear this, but this guy, do you remember the name of the narrator?
Did you change the map?
King Gustavus you did, yes.
Okay.
Founder of the Swedish Empire.
I'm sorry, what's the question?
I was just saying that the narrator's going to be talking. Do you remember who narrated the game, Civ 5?
I don't remember who narrated that. Did you mess with the settings to start with? I would like strategic balance on is the only other thing, and I'm not sure if you had that on or off.
I don't remember. Let's go and just do it again. That was very quick to load, so not a big issue there.
So it's under the advanced settings, I believe, on this.
So we had Hellblazer's Pangea. That's what you wanted, right?
Yep.
Could you actually explain?
Sure.
First off, we have a few mods, right? They're not even they are mods, but 2 of them were installed kind of like a DLC, which is weird. So we've got the Hellblazer's map pack. Why do you like that? What is that?
This is okay. The 2 mods you're running, the big major mods you're running that aren't interface based, are the No Quitters multiplayer balance mod and Hellblazer's map. And Hellblazer's he's done a number of maps, but one of the ones he's really addressed is Pangea. And what it has really done is taken away the isolation that used to spawn in Pangea style maps, has utilized a little bit more of the C stuff that can now be utilized while playing on Pangea, which is nice, and it's really just made it a more balanced experience. This is supposed to be for multiplayer play. It applies to the single player as well, but it's going to make it so that your opponents can get to you and you can get to your opponents. There's not going to be anyone with an impenetrable mountain range who sits there teching away for free in the entire game because no one can get to him. You're going to have to deal with other players on this type of map because the map is designed to force you to deal with other players. So for the Deity, DDAI stuff, this means it's going to be near you and you're going to have to deal with them. So it'd be good.
Okay. So it's a good thing for the AI then. Yep. It's going to make them better.
Yeah. Well, it probably won't. It probably doesn't matter. Yes, it will make them better because you're not going to have isolation. You're not going to have like a 1-tile mountain choke point that you can hold forever. Okay. I'm okay with anything strategic balance related. You can do legendary start if you want. If you're going to do this, let's do strategic start with coal and aluminum. It's not going to matter too much versus the AI, but this is just the setting that I tend to play on. I tend to do that. But you can do legendary if you want. You can do legendary start with this.
I never changed it. That's just what it was. What does it even mean? Like, I don't even know what this stuff means. You got to walk me through it.
This is going to be the amount of resources that are spawning near your capital and the kind of guarantee on that. So legendary start, you're going to have more copies of your regional luxury. So the way that luxury is spawned in Civ 5, you kind of get 1 regional luxury assigned to you based on when your city gets planted down there. So you're going to have a lot of copies of that in a very small area. That allows you to do a lot more trading, things like that. I tend to play on legendary when I'm playing the Civ versus the AI just because I want to do something different, and I don't play on legendary in multiplayer because I think it makes it a little bit more imbalanced. So.
No, if you did legendary start though, everyone gets the legendary start in multiplayer, right?
That's true.
Okay.
Yes, and that's why I don't do it in multiplayer because I don't want. They just recently in version 11 of the game have buffed a lot of the luxuries to make up for this, but it used to be mining resources were just head and shoulders better than any other resource out there. So a legendary start for me added too much RNG to the game because if my opponent got a mining resource and then got extra copies and I got a kind of, let's say I got silk and got extra copies,
because you're not going to work that
bigger.
Yeah. You need the production food. I've learned a lot. I will say this. I've learned a lot just from playing Civ 6 with you. So I'm going to hopefully be a quick study, right? I'm your 2T, is that the term for it, I think? But yeah, so okay, so this is good. While this is loading then, we'll try not to talk over this guy, hopefully. But
All hail the
just give it a
transcendent
second.
King Gustavus
We had to turn the
Adolphus,
music off, by the way.
founder of the Swedish Empire.
So I say let's try not to talk over him. Ooh, we started on a hill. Nice. But yeah, try not to talk over him, and then I talk right over him. But anyway, so we talked about the maps, and then you mentioned the no quitters mod, and then we also have the enhanced
UI.
user interface, which I love. I love.
It's so good. That's what I said. I cannot wait till the EUI guys get a hold of Civ 6.
I want to settle on that. I want to settle on the copper. Is that bad?
All right, I want more information. The only downside of this start right now that we have that I see is we have no fresh water, and we're playing. So we should talk about New Sweden, because Sweden just got buffed in version 11 of the mod, and I think they got over buffed, and it's going to be a lot of fun to play them.
What?
So
How so? What's different about them?
Okay.
What's the change?
everything has changed. They got a complete remake. So they used to have 2 unique units, one of which was a unique rifleman, one of which was a unique lancer. Lancers are totally useless. Rifles are okay, but not amazing. They used to have a bonus where you could gift great people to city-states, and in doing so you got 90 influence. And it used to have a bonus for every friendship deal you had a 10% great person generation buff. Now they just have a flat-out standard 25% great generation towards great people. They have a unique national wonder. It's an ironworks replacement that gives you +1 production on every single hill in the city you build it in, as well as giving you 4 great merchant points, and it gives you tourism after flight, which is incredible. And they got a change to their great merchants. So now their great merchants give additional gold and additional influence when you run them as a
trade mission.
A mission, yeah.
So wait, what was that about the mine? I don't see anything in here, because you can see this, right?
Sure, yeah, I can. Yep, go back to that. That's the one. That's your unique building. This is a ironworks replacement. If you read what's going on here, it's not for mines, it's for hills. You get +1 production on all hills.
+1 production for all hill tiles worked by the city. So this is, and it replaces, it's okay. This is different from Civ 6, right? So let's just pretend like a lot of the people who are watching this campaign are going to be people who watch the Civ 6 campaign with you and me, on my channel at least, and they're wanting to learn how to beat Deity as well. So there's going to be a lot of stuff in here that I'm not going to know and they're not going to know. Holy crap, +8 production. That seems like a ton.
Well, that is so okay. So what we need first then to make a distinction between what are they called? World wonders and national wonders. National wonders are something that exists in Civ 5 and didn't make it to Civ 6. I'm kind of glad that they didn't. But these are wonders that every empire can construct, and they have a prerequisite building. So the prerequisite building for this wonder, this is a replacement of the ironworks. The ironworks requires that all of your cities have a workshop. That's the requirement for building it. And the cost of this national wonder will go up for the number of cities you have that have a workshop, basically. So there's one of these. The National College is the one that everyone knows about, which is that's a national wonder. It gives you 50% science in the city it's built, but it is based on having a library in all of your cities. And this is one of the reasons why in Civ 6 it feels a little bit more flexible about when you can settle cities as compared to Civ 5, because this is one of the timing windows that we're going to want to hit pretty hard, which is getting the National College up relatively early, because it's such a big science boost compared to anything else you can do. But these are national wonders. So this is a national wonder replacement, a unique national wonder. You can look at it.
Okay. All right. So you think that this is a really powerful buff that they just got in this No Quitters mod?
Yep, and the 25% great people is really nice too. Okay, so here's the problem with our city. Sweden has bonuses towards great people, both in using them and generating them. We really want to maximize that. However, you can't build a garden if you're not on fresh water, and we're not on fresh water.
So you're thinking maybe this hill over by this fresh water over here?
Yeah, I want to have a look over there for sure. So the other thing is, can you mouse over some tiles?
Yeah.
Okay, so you probably haven't messed with the setting yet. Remember we talked about, I want to see the pop-ups on these tiles fast. Okay, you have it. That's grass on the river. What's over to the left? See that the hill over by the copper? I want to see that. Is any of this fresh water? It will say, okay, Forest Plains Hill, no. It will say river on any of the ones that are Plains Hill.
So we're what's the term for this? Where we're kind of looking into the fog of war a little bit here, because you're trying to see the tile past it. You're cheating. Yeah. You're a cheater.
Oh, we're using all the information we have available to us.
Looks like this is the only one where we're actually gonna have the river.
Okay.
Right there.
So at the very least here,
or up here.
Although those start to be quite a few turns, and I want to settle within 2 turns if I can. They just changed how. So up until now, all previous versions of the mod and all previous versions of Civ, for basically, there's been a huge deficit to settling on flat land compared to a hill, because you're just losing 1 yield. In an attempt, and I think a misguided attempt for this particular buff, but nevertheless, in an attempt to give more options to the player, they've buffed flatland settles now. Flatland settles now give +1 food So we're not necessarily screwed settling flatland here. What I'd like to see that warrior do is move one tile east immediately to the grassland, and then we're going to go to the grassland hill in a minute. One tile southeast of there, because this is where I want to look to where we're going. Okay, so that is a pretty short river. I am tempted to settle directly on that silk. So it would be a 3-turn settle, which kind of sucks. And we should definitely talk about this. But I'm tempted to settle on the silk, and it would be just the first turn to the grassland hill or the sheep, doesn't matter which, and the second turn onto the silk, and the third turn, start of the turn, settle.
Right. So okay, I have a question for you.
Okay.
I have a pretty darn good understanding now in Civ 6 how to calculate what I'm going to get out of my yield in the capital if I do a settle. And the way it works in Civ 6 is it's 2-1 or 2-1 plus any numbers in excess of 2-1. So, like, for example, if I look at this, I see this is a 1-1-2, so I'm expecting if I settle there, I'm going to get 2-1-2.
Yep.
However, but you just said that now, like, if I settle here, is it going to be 3-1?
Yeah. And if you settle on and you settle on the silk, it would be 3-1-2 as well.
Oh, right,
so
because this isn't
that's because
hill.
they've just buffed flatland settles.
What happens to the forest? Do we get the production?
No, production is lost, and you won't be able to work that. And they did buff plantations, although the silk buff is one of the least useful buffs of 2 plantations. So.
Okay, so it's identical then, roughly. Well, okay.
Yeah, but don't make your move yet, because this is the decision here. There's 2 problems with moving to the silk besides it being an extra turn. The first of which is this is strategic balance. So we move away from iron and horses, coal and aluminum, moving further away from our start position. And oil. All of those are guaranteed to us inside a certain radius of our city. I believe it's 3 tiles from where you first spawn.
Which
so
is right there.
the further east we move, the closer we are to moving away from that. That's the first problem. The second problem is our initial starting resources seem pretty nicely distributed, and they seem nicely distributed right next to us. Right? We have the copper, the stuff we want to work is over to the west too. So I could probably be talked into settling on that grassland river tile, which you could settle this turn. You could move 1 tile and settle.
Now, the disadvantage, if I understand correctly, though, is that, okay, and this is different from Civ 6, at least in the beta build or the release build that we had. In Civ 6, if you settle on a luxury resource, you actually get the benefit amenity bonus from it right away, even without tech. But in Civ 5, we have to research... Is there a shortcut key for science? I couldn't figure it out, by the way.
I don't think so. I don't use one if there's one. Yep,
calendar. We have to get calendar until we actually get the happiness from that silk. But we do get the gold, which is nice.
And we're not too concerned with happiness at the moment. Those are certainly golden age points we wouldn't be getting, but other than that, we're going to have enough happiness to begin with, probably until we can get that online. Actually, my recommendation here is actually the grassland, right there.
Really? Yep. I don't know. I love the idea of having that gold permanently. I love getting 2 extra gold per turn. It's so powerful. But okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, one of the things that early game Deity that you can do that you cannot do in any other game mode, because you don't have AI in other game modes, you can sell them strategic resources, and they will buy horses, and more importantly, they'll buy iron. And I'm just it's more likely that iron spawns on hills than is flatland, although it's not necessarily going to be true. I don't want to move any further away from our hills because I'm worried we're going to move away from our iron, and I want iron in the capital. Because otherwise we could just expand. We could expand for that, but the timing means we could sell iron before we're going to get many expands out in all likelihood, if we can get it online. It won't be there because that's where we spawn. It can't be there, but it can be in any other tile within 2 tile radius of where we spawn from iron.
Probably one of these 2 at least.
That's my suspicion.
Could it be in both?
You could get them both, but it's not the strategic balance doesn't make it so you're going to necessarily get both. I mean, we could have settled on the warrior too, but I think let's play around with the flatland settle. I think.
Well, the warrior would have taken an extra turn.
Yes, exactly that would be the downside.
Right. Okay.
Here we are.
Let's see. I'm going to have a lot of questions that I'll forget because I want to let you talk, but at the same time, I do have a lot of questions.
At least for me, I learn better asking questions. So please fire away.
Right. One minor complaint here, since I'm allowed 1 complaint per video, is that there's a lot of utility stuff in Civ 6 that I'm missing, right? I love in Civ 6 how you've got you click on the warrior selected right now, right? He's got 2 movement, and in order to see how far he can go, you have to like either press the M key, but then you risk accidentally clicking. If you click with the left mouse, they try to go there. If you click and hold and drag, it doesn't. So that scares me. Or you right click and hold, and then you can do this. But I really miss that functionality in Civ 6 where you can actually just see how far they can go.
You
said you didn't even
know
notice.
What you're talking about. Yeah, because I've played so many billion hours of Civ that
you know where they can go.
Yeah, exactly.
Now-
Okay, so what we want to do with the warrior for scouting is we want to same relative thought as I had in Civ 6, which is we don't want him to go too far from home, but the time that he can go furthest from home is in the beginning. So we're going to send him out in a direction we're looking for ancient ruins is really what we're looking for, and city-states if we can find them, and we want to get as much information as possible. So it doesn't really matter which direction. And the other thing is, unlike in Civ 6, you can use the remainder of your movements to move onto a hill. So we want to, if we can, if it doesn't screw up the direction we're moving in or screw up an objective he's moving towards already, we want to end the turn on a hill because it gives us more sight.
Gives us more sight and 25% defensiveness, which
Yes, although
situationally could be useful.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Later on when we do some combat versus AI, that's going to be great. Hills are going to be a great place. And it will give you a little bit more defense versus barbs, I guess, but I'm not going out of my way in the early game about defense for the warrior anyways.
Any way to know where we are relative to the north and south poles?
And it will artificially restrict your movement of the window. Yeah, so you can't go
any further down.
Yeah.
All right,
to prevent you from getting that information.
I'm going to choose south.
Okay.
I chose right.
Yeah, nice.
And a barb camp.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this is something that's interesting that when you play against humans, there can't be a hand axe here because the hand axe is like it's I can't remember what the upgrade is now, but essentially the hand axe, we don't have the tech for a hand axe yet, but because the Deity AI starts with a number of techs ahead of us, that's one of the other bonuses. They start with some already researched. It does, and the barb camps are based on, I don't know if it's the average level or like the first 2 players to get a tech. Basically, the barbs are stronger in the early game than they would be because the AI has more tech than it should.
Makes sense. Do you favor production or food here?
Here, I prefer the food. I would like to work the stone. And I want to walk every tile, of course.
I know you. I'm not going to even contest that with you. I know. We're going to be locking every tile because you absolutely loathe this system, right?
Well, actually, this is something that's really worth talking about. The production, we can probably do this by the end of this video too. All right. So you want this production focus for the rest of the game. Occasionally, we'll move it around to gold or science focus, but in the vast majority of circuits, we want a production focus. And this is because when a citizen is born in Civ 5, the citizen gives you the yields of the tile he's created on, except for food. Does that make sense?
So you would never want to have food focus, and the default focus usually does prioritize food, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's mostly to do this has nothing to do with the day-to-day, like what are we working. I'm going to lock every tile, so the focus makes no difference whatsoever for what we're working on the day-to-day. It's only for that new turn every time that a citizen is born that we care about it.
Wow, talk about min-max. I mean, yeah. I get it makes sense, but that's interesting. And you can't minimize this because then you can't see the tiles, unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right.
But we're not going to be in the screen too much anyways. So, all right. Q-wise, I recommend at the bare minimum 1 scout here. Science-wise, you have some options. This is Deity. Maybe we'll save this for next turn, exactly the social policies. But here we have the options between mining and pottery are really the ones you want to pick up first. Our goal is to get a relatively early shrine so we can get a pantheon. Pantheons did just get changed, so there's a lot of new pantheons out there. They're weaker than they were before, but still probably about what they were in the base Civ 5 game. So it's definitely worth getting in the early game.
Okay. I just want to reiterate that we're using a specific mod pack. So that everything you just said, does that apply to pottery first over pottery and mining over these two? Does that apply to vanilla?
For vanilla, yeah.
Okay.
The standard build is because one of the goals is to get an early pantheon, and pantheons are competitive in vanilla, but not competitive in the mod. So every person who gets the pantheon makes it more expensive for everybody else in the vanilla game, but not in the mod. So.
Okay. Now, would you recommend someone who's never played Civ 5 before or has never beaten Deity that if they're trying to follow along with this, you're tutoring me, but you're also tutoring thousands of people here. Mm-hmm. So would you recommend that they play vanilla, or would you recommend that we maybe put a link in the description to get this pack?
I think the mod makes the game more fun. I think it offers a lot. The NQ multiplayer balance mod offers a lot of diverse options that aren't there in the base game. The base game is very formulaic, especially on Deity for the optimal strategies for beating the AI, and this offers a lot of diversity in that. So I find the replayability for even single player is better in the mod than it was in the base game. So I recommend that. And if you're playing multiplayer, especially if you want to get involved in any of the multiplayer, the Steam group No Quitters, which is designed to have people get full games of Civilization 5 multiplayer, then you should dive right in learning off the mod, because that's what everyone plays in Civ 5 No Quitters is the mod.
So it sounds like, to go back to a game that I used to play a lot, like Warcraft 3 or even StarCraft for a while, this is like the big mod on the custom games list. Like this is what everyone does when they're not playing ranked, right?
Well, yeah, since there is no ranked in Civ 5 multiplayer, there's no option for that. This is what everyone does all the time, even when they're playing the competitive matches.
Right.
So yeah, it's
okay.
like even more so than that.
And then one last question, just to kind of play devil's advocate here. if you install this mod pack, which it sounds like I definitely will put a link in the description now, to the 3 mods that we're using. The enhanced user interface, the no quitters mod, and then the map pack, which they're all very easy to install. I have not done much modding or anything with Civ, and I did it in about 10 minutes. And so it's not even 10 minutes, like 5 minutes.
It's very, very good comprehensive instructions for the 2 that are supported by the no quitters group, which are the map and the mod. Those have very good instructions.
Right. But to play devil's advocate, if someone is actually looking for a challenge, would you say it's harder to beat Deity on the mod or without the mod?
I found both to be relatively easy. So
of course you have. You've beaten like 5 at once, right? Everyone against you as a team, permanent war, so you can't even have diplomacy, you can't trade stuff to them.
Yeah, so, we can talk about that. I mean, that is an accomplishment, but I'm not sure that is quite the accomplishment that everyone makes it out to be. Yes. What do I think about challenge level? I haven't played non-mod in so long now. I do have some non-mod Deity games on my channel. I found them quite easy. I found them a little bit less fun than the modded stuff. My understanding is it is supposed to be slightly harder in the mod from the people who play this a lot, and I don't really know one way or the other.
Okay, well that's what I think people are going to want to hear. They're not going to want to install something that makes it easier. So, okay.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't do that.
Well, we do have to take a break here. We're on a fairly tight schedule this specific week, so we can't go too long on any one of these individual episodes. So we do apologize. We're going to be pretty strict on timing today, but we will be back tomorrow. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this campaign so far, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Looking forward to it.